Hello and welcome back. Sterling Eco Live, myself T.
And Robert.
Robert.
We're here at the showroom, 60 The Highway, Wapping, London E1W2BF. And we're joined behind us over our shoulders, and between us there is our new Sinatra.
That's right.
So we've got lots of things that we've been talking about over this weekend.
That's right. Firstly, how was your weekend? I know you're going to go straight in.
Yeah,
you're
no,
a man that likes to go straight
the weekend was good.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of time just lying, looking at the ceiling, clearing my head. Talking, we've spoken a lot over the weekend about where the business is and our plans moving forward, particularly with our social media content and engaging. And we're back here now to do a series of lives that we want. We want to engage with everybody. We want as many questions as you can send to us, and we're going to talk about relevant topics as well. Yeah. And one of the things that we were talking about, T, was this ULEZ thing.
ULEZ, you want to start with ULEZ?
Yeah, let's start with ULEZ.
So we'll go for some headlines then.
Yeah.
So I like to start with LBC. That's what I always listen to. I feel like they are non-biased. They give good interaction when it comes to these topics. So there's these guys called Blade Runners, and their mission is to take down all the ULEZ cameras, and I think they're heroes personally, but it's not about me, it's about you guys and what you think, and it's a topic to discuss. So I'll read one caption and then we can go through some others. So Blade Runners destroying Sadiq Khan's ULEZ cameras, vow to carry on until everyone is down, quotations no matter what. What's your thoughts on that, Rob?
Well, I disagree with the whole ULEZ thing, the expansion particularly. I get it with the square mile as one thing, but I don't think the statistics back up what it's the pain that it's causing people.
Yeah. And
in one hand, we should be agreeing with it in a sense that it's forcing more drivers off the road or to look at alternative modes of transport, but it's too much too soon, I think. And I just think it's a money grab, and it's affecting people that just can't afford at the moment alternatives, and that's my opinion. So do I agree with what these guys are doing? I don't disagree with what they're doing, because I think that we voted. I mean, I didn't vote personally for him because I think the mayor is rotten, but the mayor was voted in. But this kind of thing needs to be voted on, and definitely. I think that overwhelmingly, the general public would vote against this. Overwhelmingly.
I'll read you something that I read this morning about ULEZ, because I'm very against ULEZ, but then there's obviously some benefits to it, obviously health and all that sort of stuff.
Well, arguably.
Yeah, arguably, of course.
Yeah.
ULEZ has reduced concentrations of nitrous dioxide where people live near to roadsides, and they're classed as most vulnerable. And there's apparently 15,000 deaths in the last 4 years due to air pollution.
Well, I disagree that all they've done is they've moved the air pollution.
Yeah.
Because these low traffic neighbourhoods, which is another thing that we wanted to talk about the protests.
Just Stop Oil.
The councils have stopped us from driving round in London by the low traffic neighbourhoods, and they've forced everybody onto these major arteries. All you need is a small roadblock there, and the whole thing comes to a standstill. Yeah. And pollution is skyrocketed on these major arteries anyway, because it's one lane. You've got a bus lane, you've got a bike lane, and one lane of traffic.
So it's very concentrated in different areas.
And you can't turn off, you can't go anywhere. You're stuck in that particular line of traffic. So, and we know that fumes or pollution has skyrocketed on those areas. So there's an argument for and against the low traffic neighbourhoods. Again, low traffic neighbourhoods, no one voted on them. They were all passed stealthily during COVID, which again, no one's been allowed to vote on it. And I don't think that's very democratic. I think the mayor has gone completely rogue with this whole ULEZ thing. He's trying to fill a gap financially that he's caused with London traffic. What is it? TfL traffic. So that's what he's got, a massive gap to fill there, and that's how he's doing it. He's trying to do it. At the end of the day, ULEZ means that if you can pay it, you can drive in London anyway. So where's that against pollution? It's forcing people not to come into London because they can't afford it.
Very true.
But if you can afford it, you can pollute as much as you want.
It says they've spent £75 million on cameras and signs for ULEZ already.
Have they? 75 million?
Yep.
Well, that's a waste of money. Another waste of money. But he's having to invest in that to fill the massive void that he's created with TfL.
And a further 140 million budgeted for expanding the scheme. So currently we're going from
225 million.
Yeah, North Circular to South Circular.
Yeah, that's going up to the M25.
And
yeah, it's just I don't agree with it. I do not agree with it.
So where's that money coming from, Rob?
Council tax, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know,
ULEZ, council tax, congestion charge.
That's right. Yeah, it's coming from that.
Wow.
But again, because of TfL and the shortfall that they have, you know, the COVID, the pandemic, desecrated all the finances for those companies anyway.
Yeah.
And this is solely as a money gaining exercise. It's not. It's nothing to do with air pollution, you know, at all. I totally disagree. We know that 60% of the pollution on the streets is from brake dust anyway. It's not from pollution. Yeah. But there's none of this is. You can't see these stats anywhere.
So,
really.
What's your thoughts on Just Stop Oil causing, like standstill traffic around the city in different locations?
Well, I think it's got to a point where people. They are silent protests. They're not violent protests, but affecting. I mean, it pisses me off because it's every day. You know.
Okay. But what's your thoughts on these guys doing it in the same manner where the low traffic neighbourhoods, they're also causing standstill traffic?
Exactly. The low traffic neighbourhoods are a protest anyway, aren't they? So Just Stop Oil, all they do is need to sit in a major artery and they stop all the traffic because the councils are responsible for the protests that they've created anyway. They've given them the ammunition. But who knows? It might all be orchestrated. They might all be paid for by the councils to create this traffic mayhem, so people don't use cars.
Yeah. Have you been personally affected by ULEZ? No, not ULEZ. Sorry, by Just Stop Oil protesters.
No.
Have you been personally?
Oh no, we have when they shut Tower Bridge. Remember where they dropped off a Tower Bridge?
Very true. Yeah.
They were hanging off Tower Bridge.
Yeah.
I should just left.
I've been stopped by them in Embankment previously as well.
Have you?
Yep. But I was riding an electric motorbike, so I wasn't affected.
So you went in and around them?
Just gone.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, what we do here is, we manufacture and we sell electric mopeds and motorbikes. So we're trying to create a brand here that's affordable transport, but it doesn't mean to say that. And so really, this ULEZ thing should play into our hands as a green tech company. But it affects members of my family. We're trying to do something that's affordable. The whole word affordable needs to come into play here. This ULEZ thing is unaffordable for most people.
Yeah.
Really.
Going back to the Blade Runners as well, I think they're heroes. I think they are doing something very brave. They are just uninstalling the equipment that whoever's been instructed to install.
Yeah.
And they're not affecting anyone. It's harmless.
They're not damaging it, are they?
They're not damaging it.
Deconstructing it.
We didn't vote these cameras in.
No.
We had no say. It affects absolutely everyone, and at a time where people can't really afford to travel, I feel like it's a lot of pressure on motorists, or even just people to commute in general.
Yeah.
Even getting on a bus, for example, the fares are changing every year. So if you need a car, and people can barely afford anything, then it's a bit ridiculous to be paying an extra $12.50 on top of the rising cost of food, electricity, and everything else.
And I think that's the crux of it is, if you can afford it, it doesn't affect you. So if you can afford, if we were all really, everybody was really super wealthy, it'd only be that you were paying more. Do you see what I mean? To get to be able to travel. And I just think I just think it's wrong. It's the wrong time. Sadiq Khan I think he's mismanaged the whole of London. It's a dump at the moment. It's like the Wild West on the roads. And this is just another money-grabbing scheme to inflict more misery on ordinary, hard-working people. So, if you've asked me, do I agree with ULEZ? Absolutely. The expansion, absolutely not. I think it's disgraceful.
So where are they going to expand it to? The M25. So the whole of London is going to be ultra low.
Everything inside and the suburbs. I mean, the M25 goes out to the suburbs. It's not central London. This isn't a central London thing anymore.
Yeah.
It goes right out to the suburbs.
Yeah.
You know, so the expansion out to the M25 it's a disgrace, really.
But then that doesn't, the pollution out by the M25 doesn't really affect people that live by the roadside.
Well, just think of the pollution from the M25 on its own. You know, as the ring road around London.
Yeah, true.
But this whole thing is not about pollution. You've got to get away from, I think, the whole argument about pollution. It's a money grabbing exercise.
Have you had to pay any ULEZ fines recently?
No.
Okay.
No. I'm compliant.
So, based on that, how many people do you think are finding alternative ways to travel in terms of congestion zone? You can go around it, but ULEZ you can't really escape it. So, do you think people are just getting on the train, the bus, and all that, or?
I think so. Yeah, people need to get to and from work. You know, and are the services that good that they can do that? You know, who knows? For being one of the wealthiest countries in the world, I think infrastructure's crap. We know what the roads are like. We've got all these cycle lanes that have been built. My travel into work, none of the cyclists are using the cycle lanes. They're in and out of traffic.
Very true.
You know, it is like the Wild West. So the cycle lanes were just are a waste of taxpayers' money as well, unless cyclists are made to use the cycle lanes. You know, they have to comply. Otherwise, they can just, you know, it is like the Wild West.
Going back to ULEZ quickly, 29th of August, they're expanding it again this year.
That's right, yeah. That's when it goes out to the M25.
29th of August.
29th of August, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think there's a big campaign. I think there's a High Court writ to say that it's illegal. So there's going to be a bun fight about it. And we got the Blade Runners doing their thing. You know, dismantling the cameras as they put them up. So.
We've got a comment here from One Web Design Scotland, and he says ULEZ is hitting Scotland soon, and it will destroy the city centres.
No, I agree. I think, you know, you've got to think about the whole thing about trying to generate regeneration for city centres means getting people into the cities. They did it with parking originally, didn't they?
Yes.
You know, and not allowing, you know, it costs like Islington, you pay for parking, then a surcharge if you've got a particular type of vehicle.
Yep.
They're doing it all over the country. London, I mean, Britain as a country is paving the way in eco-friendly. You know, it is paving the way. But again, my argument is that they're still dropping, you know, testing nuclear bombs underground, you know, and just think of the heat that generates for
Very
the planet. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
And then they tell us to use cheaper light bulbs, or not cheaper light bulbs. They're much more, 10 times more expensive, but cost-effective light bulbs, and they're still dropping bombs all over the world.
Do you know my thing? And I hate to take it back to this subject, but obviously it's the mast situation. I don't know if we're even allowed to say the name anymore, but they were saying to us, if you couldn't get to work before in that period of lockdown, to find another profession, something that you might have studied for, paid for university. It might have been like a family business.
Work from home.
Work from home. Find
Again,
another profession.
Yeah, that's right. So in the cities and stuff, all the small business. Remember our friend that we used to go and get our wraps from. How did his business suffer because nobody was going into the city?
It was awful.
And now that whole episode just seems to have gone.
Yeah,
you know,
just disappeared.
And again, it's just a big money grab. Which we disagree with.
We've got a comment here. Nightlife will be affected and more companies closing down, roughly 3 a week closing. So someone that has worked for yourself all of your life, Rob, how does that feel? Have you seen anything like this?
No, 88, 89. You know, I've spoken to a lot of friends. I've always been an entrepreneur. I've always worked for myself. And 88, 89. Ironically, that message is from Scotland, but I had to travel to Scotland back then to work. We had to find work. Back then, and speaking to people generally now, I don't think people have seen it as bad as this. But the problem with, like, we live in a capitalist society, and I agree with the people being able to go out and earn as much as they possibly can, but it's got too far corporate. It's far too corporate. You know, with BP have just announced a £4 billion profit in the first 3 months of this year, and there is the fuel prices are back to normal pre-COVID.
Very true.
Prices.
I've noticed.
So people just profiteering. You know, food prices up on the inflation, 15.7%. It's just profiteering, and that is wrong. And there's getting too much. You get rid of the middle classes, which is what it's happening. It's polarised, isn't it? You've either got or you haven't. As you get rid of the middle classes, I think that.
So I'm just doing some research here, and it says Glasgow's low emission zone applies from the 1st of June this year. They've given a massive boundary, so it's pretty much inside the M8 area.
Yeah.
And they're doing to them what they're doing, or they have been doing to London.
Yeah.
And they just call it a low emission zone, not ultra low just yet.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing there'll be another stage to it.
Yeah.
And there's going to be quite a lot of.
See, the Scots. I mean, the Scots they kick back a lot, don't they? Do you know what I mean? So they'll have to they drop it in more gently than they do over. It's brutal down here because everybody complies, don't they? But in Scotland there's a little bit more of a
And guess what their fines start at?
What, in Scotland?
Not £12.50.
What?
£30.
A £30 fine
a day. Yeah.
Or a charge.
Fine.
A fine, £30.
Yeah, fine.
Wow.
Subject to fines starting at £30 and rising to almost £1,000.
Yeah.
The expansion comes after phase 1 of restrictions, which applies to buses, began operating in 2018, and full implementation from June the 1st, 2023.
It's happening, guys. It's happening.
It definitely is happening.
I mean, the whole idea of when we set up and started this company is to create something that was a affordable, funky mode of transport. Something different to a step-through delivery type electric moped.
Yeah.
And we're doing really well with our message, and obviously with all the art and stuff that we do as well, the personalisation. It's becoming more of a, not desperate isn't the word, but people are being forced into.
Absolutely.
They're really being forced into this, and we're with everybody at that. We're still car drivers ourselves. We got our bikes and we got our cars. So when we go in and around London, we're on our bikes, and it is ULEZ free, tax free, and congestion free. Yeah, but we still suffer from the same.
So I'm looking at another city now, Birmingham. They've got a low emission zone as well. They've got class A, B, C, up to D, and I'm just looking at their fines. Got Oxford as well, low emission zone.
Oxford is probably the worst, isn't it, at the moment?
We've got Bath, Bradford, Brighton, Bristol, Portsmouth, Greater Manchester, Newcastle, Norwich, Sheffield. Oh, there's loads.
So what's the agenda, T? What do you think the whole agenda is with this?
It's all business, Rob, at the end of the day.
It's business,
It really is. I think, deep down it's all business. There's ways to obviously apply pressure, catch people out, and just control how we're living.
Yeah. Which is a shame.
Yeah. But it's funny because you would think they would funnel some of this attention towards electric companies.
Oh yeah,
like
okay.
ourselves.
So let's talk about the Mayor of London, right? Because that's our experiences. I actually handed a business card to the Mayor of London. We've got the biggest showroom of electric motorbikes in London, between the two busiest petrol stations in London. We've got the BP garage this side, and we've got the Texaco garage, and that's a fact. And we went down to Leicester Square, and the Mayor was at Global Radio. And I handed a business card to his driver, and the Mayor drives around in a convoy of V8 Range Rovers. He doesn't even sit in an electric car himself, right? So he doesn't have to worry about any of that. And we know that he was given the card because he drove really slow, didn't mention anything. And then all the emails that I've sent to the Mayor's office previously, one inviting him in and just to big us up, or just to give us a little bit of recognition for what we're doing as a business. And he referred us to TfL. TfL wrote to me to say, well, they didn't write to me at all. And then when they eventually wrote to me to apologise for not writing and do I want to make a complaint. So the whole thing's just messed up. Yeah. And there's absolutely no interaction with any official. Do you remember the what was his name? Sean, the Conservative applicant for the Mayor of London. Sean Bailey. Sean Bailey. Yeah. Sean Bailey, right? So I knew somebody that was connected to Sean Bailey, and we were WhatsApp messaging, and I said, just get him to come by on his canvassing, and he literally drove past here, totally ignored,
Yeah.
any kind of interaction with what we're doing here. So they're all as bad as each other. They're all in it for themselves. And I don't, and I just think that Sadiq Khan's got himself into such a position that everyone watches the press on him, just watches press conferences. He's in trouble. That he's in a lot of bother because he's created such a mess with everything.
He really has.
And he's trying to screw ordinary people by digging himself out of the hole that he's created. Shocking, really, but hey ho.
It really is. Alan West says he doesn't care as he drives around in 2 Range Rovers.
That's right, Alan.
Very true.
Yeah, Alan, absolutely, and that's exactly what he does. He drives around in 2 V8 turbocharged Range Rovers. Not one.
Pretending to care about
Pretending
electric.
to care about electric, yeah, absolutely.
Do you reckon he knows what a Type 2 charger is?
That's Sadiq Khan?
Yeah.
Only the one he's going to attach to his arse.
Jesus Christ.
He needs a Type 2 charge, doesn't he?
Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right, yes. So the ULEZ thing. Let us know what you think in the comments after this live. What do you think?
Yeah,
do you agree with ULEZ? Do you
Alan
disagree with it?
Also says he's expanding ULEZ to meet at Heathrow. So you just missed the part where we were saying all the cities that are going to be affected this year and the next. And London out to Heathrow. That's definitely not inner city.
Yeah, Alan lives. If you're out by Heathrow, you're in the suburbs. You're not in central London. No,
respectfully.
You live in the suburbs.
Yeah.
It's nice to live in the suburbs.
Of course, yeah. But of course, planes in comparison to the ULEZ zone. So you're going to have the ULEZ zone on the ground, and you have planes taking off, and I think planes cause a massive amount of pollution.
They do, yeah, absolutely.
So,
and actually, the government are canvassing for a 3rd runway at Heathrow Airport as well.
Make it make sense.
Right. Try and make it make sense.
An aircraft takes off every 2 minutes, and that's a fact from
Yeah.
someone that lives in Heathrow. So
and Alan knows all about airplanes.
Plain spotter. But yes, thank you for that input there.
Thank you.
There's quite a lot going on in the news today about these ULEZ cameras. There's quite a lot of uproar going on. Yeah. Could you see yourself going up, masked up, just taking down some cameras, Rob?
Do you know what? I probably
you look tempted.
I look tempted, but could I climb up the hole? How did I get up there? I couldn't climb up there anymore.
Gosh.
But I don't disagree with it, and that's the fact that I don't disagree with it. Let's cause a little bit. It's not disrupting anybody, is it? It's just saving people. You can't rinse people. Just rinsing people.
The travel, let alone the fines, and then those fines are going to rack up. They'll soon take your vehicle or your home, and
that's another thing. That's just poked me of another thing.
Go for it. Yeah.
So, in the garage near us, right, it cost 18 quid to charge your electric car to get 100 miles out of it. Okay.
Yeah.
So it costs more to charge your electric vehicle to get 100 miles than it would be to put conventional diesel or petrol in to get 100 miles out.
And it takes longer.
And they've barely controlled the Type 2 charging, right? Because we still, I think, 95% of the world's energy is still combustion. It's fossil fuel. 95%, and they're spending trillions and trillions of pounds on electric. They've already spent trillions on it, and we're only 5% into it. Could you imagine? So,
wait. They spent trillions on it, and all the infrastructure's not out yet.
No, but where's the trillions gone? You've got to say to yourself, where has all the trillions gone? We don't have the infrastructure for electric at the moment. I mean, the government have, I think they've announced that you have to legally have a Type 2 charger for every new house built.
Yep.
But once they control Type 2 charging, it's not going to just, even now, they can't wait. If it costs 18 quid now to charge your car to get a 100-mile range out of it, and they only control 5% of the market, what's going to happen when they control 100% of it? It's going to cost you stupid amounts of money just to charge your car to get, once they take all of petrol and combustion off the roads. Again, that's why we have free pin charging. Take your battery out, charge it next to the kettle.
Or charge it at work.
I'll charge it at work.
Yeah.
And because we're not talking about car charging and waiting an hour, these are our bikes are
they are low emissions vehicles, so they're completely compliant. I think they've been designed around the fact that the cities are changing, methods of travel are changing. 2-wheel travel is not as unsafe, or it is affordable. It's available. People think that it's not available as well. They're not really too familiar with battery technology and motorcycles because it's not something that's glorified online compared to a burnout or a wheelie.
And it's also a really, really small proportion of what a car would cost. like a new electric car or charging.
Yeah.
You know, it's a real affordable alternative.
Mm-hmm.
And we are trying to reinvent the older dream of being out on your bike, you know, that kind of thing, and getting to and from work. The autonomy, you know, you're not relying on anybody. You're not waiting for a bus. You know, you just switch on and go.
I think the only waiting you really have to do with an electro ride would be one, obviously, to receive it. So once you're on the road, you're on the road. But then after that, charging. If you have an additional battery, you're never really waiting to charge. You're not waiting in petrol stations, even parts, next day delivery, etc.
Yeah.
So you're good to go. Once you're on the road with an electric bike, perfectly fine. Even when it comes to qualifying, for example. So if you've got an old car license before Feb 2001, you're pretty much ready to go straight away. Otherwise, you could book a CBT tomorrow and get on one of those bikes in the evening or the next day. Yeah. Comparison to a car license where you've got to wait how long to get a license.
And spend an X amount. I think the cheapest car's £29,000 for an electric car. It's a ridiculous amount of money as well. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Waiting for your bacon sandwich.
I think that's an invite up to Soho.
Yeah.
We haven't been up there for a while.
Ages,
We've got to go up to Soho again.
Definitely.
Most definitely.
Yeah, but there's huge advantages, obviously, to riding electric anyway.
Riding electric, not driving electric.
Yeah.
You know, so we use smaller batteries. There's less impact with them. People will argue that there's impact with lithium mining and stuff like that, but there's less impact with what we're doing, and it's affordable.
I've got a question for you as well. This is completely random. It's something I thought about on the weekend. Let's say someone doesn't like the gap inside the electro ride. Can we fill that with one solid battery?
I don't see the point. I mean, because you get an electro ride that goes 300 miles on a range. You know, who's going to sit on that bike for 300 miles?
We get some unique customers though. For example, like we get people on farms that want the bikes for whatever, people that own shops that want it for deliveries. If someone wanted a bike that goes 300-mile range, are we the people that they can contact?
No.
Okay.
No. The other thing is, when we designed this bike with the big hole where the motor should be, battery technology means that batteries are getting smaller and more powerful, so we don't need to lose. I mean, with the Sinatra, we've got a double battery going into that. We'll get 120-mile range out of that on a single charge, and I think that the batteries are getting smaller and more powerful. So I think, and it's very fluid. That technology. So
if someone wanted a bike designed to their specification, is it something we could provide?
With Sinatra, we can, pretty much.
I know we've got options, like you've got the sidecar, you've got the maintenance rack. Would we have like a trailing arm soon, maybe?
On the new electro ride? Yeah, we could do that. I mean, the trailer we could design for that. You know, we're working with WMG and Precision Projects.
Okay.
Up in Silverstone on the Sinatra, and we're always looking now at engineering. Engineering is the biggest word in our vocabulary at the moment.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, we've got any other questions there, T?
It's people waving, saying hello and whatnot, but no more questions now.
Okay, cool.
But yes, it's been a good live so far.
Yep.
One more, so I'll give you some more stats as well. So for the Blade Runners, that's the topic of today. Blade Runners destroying Sadiq Khan's ULEZ cameras, vows to carry on until every single one is down, no matter what. They've got 100 people in their group, at least a couple £100,000 in damage they've done so far.
I thought they weren't damaging anything.
They're not damaging, but this is what the mayor's quoting.
A
couple £100,000 worth of damage. So if these guys are saying they're literally unscrewing a bolt that those guys have bolted, how does that equal to £100,000 worth of damage?
Well, this is it.
Is it missed fine?
No, because what's happening is probably the companies that are charging the £75 million for installing the companies, the things. And if you're decommissioning that, then that's where the damage is being done. So they've paid for it to be installed.
Interesting.
And they're not paying for it to be de-installed.
How much would you say they're losing with people driving in and around the city and they're not catching those fines?
Well, this is all for the new expansion, I think, isn't it? That's
no, current. So let's say, for example, you might drive through Tower Bridge one day and the camera might not be there.
Oh, I don't know then.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's going to impact on them. So they've just gone. When people go too far, I mean, what's happening in France at the moment? France loves a revolution, doesn't it? You know what I mean? So, and we're not reading about that in the papers. It's not in the press.
Nope.
No one knows what's going on globally, because I think that we're close to what very similar situation here in the UK. But people have just had enough of everything. I mean, we, again, for a company and with what we're doing, we should be all the expand. You know, ULEZ is great for us. You know, more people are going to need to buy electric vehicles and stuff. But it's not like that. We've never been like that.
Yeah.
We're not corporate here. We design, manufacture, and decorate affordable mopeds and motorbikes, electric.
We provide affordable travel options.
But affordability is the most important thing. But our question this morning, wasn't it, to you, about do you agree with it or do you disagree with it?
Yeah.
You know? If anyone that's watching now, just let us know. Do you agree with ULEZ or disagree with it?
Yeah, and as well, if you're watching this live after it's been broadcasted as well, then leave a comment or send a DM, and then we'll make a topic of your responses as well. So the last point that we were going to go on to as well, something in a different light, is King's coronation.
Yeah, there's
something I don't understand. So if you could educate me on this one, please. Rob.
Well, the King, you know, obviously a coronation is something that even Coronation Street, yeah. So Her Majesty the Queen's been before she passed away. She was coronated before I was born.
It's not funny.
Right, so Coronation Street. Well, I wonder that's what it must be about anyway. But one of the questions was, do you swear allegiance to the King at the coronation? And you asked me, would I swear allegiance to the King? And I think that's a symbolic thing. I don't think it's you know, literally swearing allegiance to the King. But I wouldn't. I agree with it in a sense, out of respect for my grandparents, because you're one generation younger than me. But I remember my grandparents. My grandfather fought for Queen and Country during the Second World War. Okay. You know, and there was I think we were a much more of a royalist country back then, and out of respect, I would do it, but not only symbolically. You know, I wouldn't stand up and say I swear allegiance to the King. Because I think it's a different world now, and I think that since Her Majesty the Queen passed, I think she was probably the last of the great royals, to be fair, and I just think that pomp and ceremony is what Britain does best in the world. We're the best in the world at it, and you wait and see, it will be global. The way that this pans out will be a global event. But does the royal family bring in more money than it spends now? That's probably arguable.
What does swear allegiance mean? I'll Google that real quick. So it says your allegiance is your support for and loyalty to a particular group, person or belief. Yeah. I don't know if I could commit to that.
No, again, well, the younger generation, Steve, is, like you said, educate me on it. You know what I mean? Because it's that education, or that, I only remember it because of my grandfather. You know, my dad's dad. Yeah. During the war. I mean,
obviously, as an individual, I have to see what benefit I receive or what kickback I receive to swearing allegiance to something.
Yeah, that's right.
So, I need to be educated on it.
I think that's a problem now, because again, in this day and age, to see the massive division between the haves and have-nots makes people a little bit more.
It's a funny saying, because Andrew Tate says that.
What, the haves? He
says it's going to be haves and have-nots, have-yachts and...
Have-nots. Have-yachts and have-nots.
Have-nots, yeah, something like that, yeah. It just makes me laugh, have and have-nots.
Have-yachts and have-nots. Anyway, I'm proud to be British. I'm proud to live in this great country, because I don't think, if you can't make a success of yourself in this country, then you can't make a success of yourself anywhere in the world. That's one thing. And it does give you the opportunity to try and make a success, although that seems to be becoming harder and harder. You know,
for me, I'm proud of just the diversity here. So I don't really understand what, you know, like British and all that stuff means in like today's language, because I see people from everywhere.
No, I agree. So, I agree. But I've been, and
love
again,
is love kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right, and I agree with that. And now I think since the demise of Her Majesty the Queen, I think that the royal family's been diluted, and it's just so much controversy around everything now.
Yeah.
But I'm still proud to be British. I'm still proud to have been born in Britain, and I also huge respect for the generation, my grandfather's generation, that fought in saving the world. I don't think we'll ever have a generation as brave as my granddad's generations again, ever. Now you get, they were going to war, like, and now you get what's the word? Insulted if someone says something that you don't like.
Exactly. You can't be yourself anymore.
You can't be yourself anymore.
Yeah.
Well, we can.
Oh, of course. But
Well, we try
it's hard. It's hard to be yourself. You get cancelled and this that. Yeah. But then even war as well is not really the same as it used to be.
No, it's drones now, isn't it?
It's digital as well.
Yeah, drones. Yeah.
They take you off the map. They censor you. All that stuff. So, what is
Absolutely. War? Propaganda. Anyway.
Yeah.
King's coronation. Congratulations to His Majesty the King. It's really weird to say that because all I've ever known is Her Majesty the Queen.
His Majesty.
But that's coming up next week. We'll talk more on that.
That's this week, Saturday, actually.
It's next Saturday, yeah. So, what are you going to be doing for the coronation? Street pies? I bet the football's cancelled. People will be pissed off about that.
Do you reckon? Maybe.
But I'll celebrate because of out of respect for my grandfather's generation. Because I don't think it's either here nor there with the royal family now. It's too much controversy with it. But there you go. Right. So thank you for joining us on a live. With this
Great
one. Any other questions? I don't think.
Great live so far. So Simon would like an update from us regarding delivery time.
Okay,
so we'll get back to him today.
No problem.
Ollie-Centric's joined, who joins every live, likes every post, so thank you for that. Urban Mockers, Alistair, hello, have a great one today. And thank you all for watching this far. I think we're going to go live on TikTok. We've got a very good engagement on there, good banter as well, so if you fancy it, Stirling Eco Bikes, it's the same handle, and we'll be going live across there. So it'll be similar topics, taking some input, maybe taking a few opinions from people going live as well. And we'll see you guys there.
Cool.
Thank you for watching. Bye-bye for now.